Let's see if we start in the same spot.
Okay.
Ready?
Da 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 da. Da 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 da. This movie sucks. Oh man. Can we talk about just to spoil the ending? You know.
Wait, what?
Can we just talk about what you said when that theme started at the end of this movie?
I said it was too late.
She literally said out loud, "No, it's too late. It's too late." When the Mario theme started at the end of the movie, she had had enough.
Yeah, I had enough.
Rach, what movie do we do today?
Welcome, everybody. First off. So this week was a little fun trip down memory lane for some of us.
Yeah.
Some of us, it was like waterboarding.
What I'll say is we are torturing each other this season. You just did it, like we did our faves, right? They were all 100%. The first 4 movies, they were 100% for each of us. You know, like it was just rolling in positivity.
So fun.
Yeah, everybody was happy. But one thing I've noticed from the listeners, one thing that they like the bad stuff too. The bad stuff gets pretty decent numbers. Safe Haven is our top grossing episode.
I think people like Safe Haven.
Well,
I think we genuinely
no,
like it.
I think they do, but I think they like it because it's bonkers. They're like, wow, this movie's crazy. I love it. It's probably the same with like Save the Last Dance, which is another hot show for us.
That's a great movie.
That movie's also a little bonkers. They're like,
I
love it. Big. They love Big. There's the movies that they tend to love, I think,
Classics.
are movies that are a little controversial, a little rough around the edges.
It feels a little bit like Good Cop, Bad Cop. Like we started a Good Cop with each other. We like eased each other in. We're like, this is gonna be so fun.
Let's just delight in each other's favorites. We're all gonna love it, but you're gonna love it more.
Bam! We came in with Bad Cop.
Yep.
Maybe the worst movies of all time.
We're gonna talk about that.
We
I actually have a
are?
list of the worst movies of all time, based on lots of publications. I found an article where they like compiled a bunch of lists, and they're like, "Hey, here are the worst movies of all time,"
Great.
and I'm gonna take us through some of the '90s hits.
Oh, I bet it's chock full
Yeah.
of worst movies of all time.
Yeah.
No offense to the 90s. Worst and best.
Yep.
It was a time of extremes.
It was a time to be alive. Yeah, it's funny because since 2020, there's only one movie on that, and we're already like past 2023. You know, like in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So we got some catching up to do if we want to reach the 90s. Rach, tell us about our movie.
Yeah, so to answer your question, we did watch Super Mario Bros. Not the one that just came out this last year.
Not the one that everybody loves.
Nope.
Not the one that broke records in the theater. Not the one that your husband saw and was very charmed by it. He thought like, wow, it was really fun. I had a great time. I can't wait for the next one.
No, this would be the one circa 93.
93.
Is that what you said? 1993.
And we determined how old were we when this movie came out?
Which
was May of 93.
In kindergarten?
We were at the end of kindergarten.
We had
Probably
just
had just entered summer. We were rising first graders, as they call them.
Just had kindergarten graduation.
Yep, and we were
Adorable.
feeling like I can take on a whole school day next year. I'm not gonna just do mornings or afternoons.
Oh, you only did half day kindergarten?
Oh yeah, it was awesome. I was AM. That was the AM class.
Nice.
The PMers, we don't talk about them.
That's a rowdy bunch.
That's a rowdy bunch.
PM kindergartners.
I was taking a nap while those kids were trying to learn.
Honestly, that makes a lot of sense why they would be rowdy, because they would be ready for nap right when it's time for school.
Oh my gosh, yep. I think it was in kindergarten, probably right around this time, where there was an apple seed that was floating in this dirty water. And my buddy Jeff told me, hey, if you should eat this. No, sorry. The apple seed wasn't floating in water. I was eating an apple. And I was like, an apple seed. He goes, here, you should eat it. And then an apple will grow in your belly. But it wasn't a scary thing. It was like, this will be cool. And so I ate the apple seed, and then he goes, but you can't drink normal water because apple seeds are used to getting like rainwater. And it was kind of raining, and there was like a gutter that had like dirty water coming out. It was right outside the elementary.
Oh, no.
And he's like, you'll have to drink some of that water. And I was like, oh, okay. I did it. So right around the time this movie came out, that's what your husband was doing, trying to grow apple seeds in his tummy. And then maybe around this time, it might be a link to this story, I pooped my pants in kindergarten, and then I went home. And instead of going to kindergarten the rest of the day, I got to watch Eureka's Castle all day, if you remember that show. So,
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see how those two stories could be related at all.
Might be the same day. Oh. And that's how those are the moments that I feel like it was those group of kids who wrote this movie. A bunch of kindergartners who were eating apple seeds and drinking rainwater and pooping their pants.
Definitely the PM kids for sure.
Yeah, or it's the PMers.
It was the PM kids.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Rach, I'm going to ask you maybe the hardest question I've ever asked you in the history of this podcast.
Good Lord.
Rach.
Yeah. Here it comes.
What's Super Mario Brothers about?
Well, I'll tell you what it's not about.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way. Just narrow it down for listeners. I think that will be helpful.
It is very rarely and far between about the video game.
Yeah.
It is a really, really stretched interpretation. Very loose.
Yep.
I say loose or stretched. I don't know.
Both. Yeah,
it's
loose,
not,
loosey
it's not
and
a good
stretched.
fitting
Yep.
interpretation of the video game. So if that's what you're looking for, I would say, ooh, just maybe pump the brakes.
Yeah, go watch the animated. The animated does a great job of making an interpretation of the
Come
video
at
game.
this with an abstract lens. So we've got some interdimensional, these dual dimensions forming at the same time. We've got Brooklyn, present day, and then Brooklyn, other dimensional day.
Yeah,
and
in Dino Land.
yeah,
or whatever.
and
Yep.
in said other dimension, dinosaurs have figured out how to evolve into humans and how to also de-evolve themselves back into mushrooms. Hence, like, there's a couple of like throws to the game. We got a lot of mushroom talk.
Well, what's weird is so we have dinosaurs talk and mushroom talk. So it's like this world is composed of mushroom people and dinosaur people.
And regular people.
I don't know if there are regular people.
No, you're right. The people are dinosaurs. That's right.
Yeah, it's
Just
weird.
in bodies.
It's
Or
like two
lizards
different species almost competing against each other.
Yeah.
Good luck on the rest of this. I'm just gonna back out now.
Well, I
After
don't
that.
know how much more I need to really touch on.
It's true.
I mean, there is, we're gonna have our plumbers are gonna get thrown into this world, Mario and Luigi, as well as a gal named Daisy, who ends up being a princess in this dimension, and so we didn't know that.
I was gonna look up like what's the history of Luigi and Daisy and everything, because there was games where as Mario you're trying to save Daisy, not Peach.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so it makes you wonder what's going on. A scandal?
Yeah, what happened
Like,
there?
is Luigi dating Mario's first girlfriend? Like later on, like as Luigi and Daisy are kind of paired together. And it's like, oh, that's Mario's first girlfriend before he met Peach. And then he broke up with Daisy. And then Luigi swept in, was like, well, I'm here. And she's like, oh, you're taller.
I have to believe that Peach came first.
Yeah.
Peach just looks so much with the blonde hair and being in pink. Like when you draw a princess, like Peach is the princess.
Princess, yeah.
You don't go for the brunette in the yellow unless you're evolved. And I don't think that this game was all that above its time in that sense, in how it was going to characterize a princess.
Yep. And all the wiki stuff, Luigi is tied to Daisy. Even if Mario's saving her, he's saving her for Luigi.
He's just saving everybody because
he's
he's
just
the
a
only one
saver.
who can.
He's a hero. He is a hero. Jump man. What's Scott Pilgrim? He goes through like a whole thing about Mario, doesn't he? Like where he explains Pac-Man and he explains Mario.
Oh, he might.
No. But anyways, so this movie, I saw it probably like in maybe first grade, maybe second grade, and didn't know what to think because I played Super Mario World for Super NES all the time, and thought like this is like got semblances of the game, but like I don't understand what I'm even watching. Like it was confusing even as a kid. Just didn't know what was happening, but I still like enjoyed it. I think I was just like, oh, there's Mario. Oh, cool. Those boots make you jump really high. oh, there's Yoshi. Oh, wow. Like
You weren't disappointed by this?
No, I think I was, but I still was like,
child?
I think I still was like, well, at least I got a Mario Brothers movie as a kid.
Oh, you were even that age. You were able to look on the bright side.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
It was like, well, at least I got one. And kids today are so spoiled.
First off, kids today.
Yeah, let's talk.
With
Hey,
kids today.
As a mid 30-year-old man, I think it's time to start really ragging on the children. And here's today's 36-year-old complaint. I am so jealous of all the Mario Brothers toys they get, and the cartoon movie that they just got, which was amazing, and they get things that I always dreamed of.
Mm-hmm.
Like the best thing I ever got was a Yoshi beanbag toy,
which is adorable,
so
and you
cute.
still have it.
I know, and I love it. But
But
they get plastic action figures and all the different iconic villains and everything, like every little thing. Petey Piranha, the little Boo ghost guy. They get all of them, and I got nothing. And then they also have those little Lego sets on the tracks where you can do different things, like make your little Mario guy jump and stuff. And so they're like little courses. Like, that's amazing. I didn't get any of that. Now I saved my parents like $500 a piece, but I would have liked to have dreamed about it at least. Yeah. And I didn't get to have those dreams.
They don't know how good they've got it.
They don't.
Oh, they just take it all for granted.
They do.
Kids today are the worst.
I hate kids. That's the takeaway. Rach, this movie is such a shit show. Let's talk about how it came to be. I'll get a little pre-production. So this is produced by an Oscar winner. It's an Oscar-winning director. His name is Roland Joffe, who was nominated for Best Director twice for 2 movies called The Killing Fields and The Mission. I didn't know those movies.
Okay.
And Joffe and this other guy, they pitched Nintendo on making this movie. And Nintendo goes, yeah, that sounds great. You guys won Oscars? Yep, take it. And they just gave him free reign. They said, you don't have to worry about, the property. We don't need to do checks and balances. We're not going to look at it. All is Japanese, Shigeru Miyamoto and Nintendo and stuff. They're like, yeah, whatever. You just do your thing.
Really?
And we'll just, see it when it's done.
Oh, gosh.
And
what a misstep.
So that's how this travesty came to be, because those guys literally lost their minds. You brought up a good point. It was like somebody that doesn't have any resemblances of the movie. It's almost like somebody played these video games for 2 hours one night, and then they took magic mushrooms, and then they were writing the movie. They're like, yeah, then maybe it's the mushroom king turns into an actual fungus, and I don't know. I think they were on some really heavy drugs.
It was such a stretch. And then maybe that makes sense that these people were Oscar people who just decided we're gonna elevate this Mario theme. There's something there. Let's try to explain it.
Yeah.
Why are we trying to explain it? We don't need to know why these plumbers are in this world with made-up characters and dinosaurs and plants that eat you. We don't care.
Yeah.
Just start us in that world and tell me a new story. Don't try to explain that world.
Yep.
God, no.
Well, and just get the little things right. How about you put them in the right colors? How about Mario doesn't wear green the whole first half of the movie and Luigi doesn't wear red? I just thought, what are you doing? I understand if you're well, we don't want to make it too obvious. No, we want to make it obvious. It's a video game movie. You're not trying to trick us. It was crazy. So they hired these directors from Britain who had done a lot of crazy stuff, real gritty, Blade Runner kind of weird stuff. I watched a couple previews of some of their other movies, and they were weird. Okay. And so you totally understand why they brought their weirdness into this movie. They're yeah, we're gonna do a lot of weird stuff. And then the writer was the writer of Rain Man. And the plot that he first came up with when they first, because there was a lot of writers, but he's the first one. They called it was exactly like Rain Man, so they called it Drain Man. So the whole thing, the whole plot was almost a carbon copy of Rain Man, which I've never seen. I know it's on our Summers Off list for you, but I can't speak to it. But are there semblances of Rain Man in this movie?
No.
Okay, then it got significantly changed.
I don't think so.
Okay, well the initial plot,
nope.
It was Rain Man to a T. Then they brought in new writers, and the new writers came on, and they were like, okay, Michael Keaton's Batman came out a few years ago. I think that's 87.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we're going to make it kind of like the Michael Keaton Batman stuff. And then we're going to also mix in like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The first movie I think came out in like 90-ish. They're like, we're going to also mix kind of that darker feel, gritty, weird, like it's going to feel a little off-putting.
Oh, gosh.
And so then they went that direction, the second group of writers. And then the third group of writers came in. They're like, we need more action. So they made it like Blade Runner meets Die Hard. That was their whole idea. And so you got Rain Man that then transformed into Batman / TMNT, and then Blade Runner / Die Hard. So that's this weird amalgamation that we're getting here today.
I would also sprinkle in like a little Total Recall on top of it. Just
I
for
knew
fun.
you had Total Recall vibes. I knew it. I looked
did
over
you
at
know
you,
that?
and I was like, oh, I'm seeing some semblances of Rach's reactions during Total Recall. I think I see a little bit of recallisms.
Which was what? What were my semblances?
Like you being overwhelmed mentally,
I was overwhelmed.
and then you kind of shutting down. And then there was a moment where you were
got all of that?
There was a moment where you looked at your Instagram, and I literally looked over at you. Are you serious, bro? And you were like, "Yep." And then you checked a quick thing, and then you like put it down
Put
again.
it down. You're right. It was not right, but I
You don't get
message.
to treat the listeners
I just had a
like
message.
that
I
by
wanted to check.
ignoring the movie.
I was trying to stay awake. I was nodding off so hard in the second
You
half.
nodded off?
Yeah.
What did you miss?
I didn't miss anything because my head just kept dropping. I was like, I couldn't sleep.
And listeners, just to give you an idea, we started this movie at a little after 8, and it was over by 10:30-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was not late. It was not 12:30
It
movie.
was late. I had just eaten pizza.
Yeah.
I was cozy.
Oh, can we talk about the best part of the movie was this gooey pizza we had. It looked like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pizza. It was so good.
Very string cheese.
Oh, wow. It was amazing. But anyways, let's talk casting.
Okay.
Who do you think the first Mario they wanted was? Because it was not. It was not Bob Hoskins.
It was not Bob Hoskins.
Nope. Think short.
Danny DeVito.
Boom. Got it.
Boom.
They wanted Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito said, and they even said, Danny, because he was starting to get into directing.
Oh, okay.
They're like, Danny, if you want, instead of those British guys, you can direct it too.
Oh my
You can
gosh.
star and direct, make it a Mel Gibson Braveheart affair,
Oh
you
my
know?
gosh.
Make it awesome. And he's like, no, I'm going to go do a different movie. They came out this same year called Batman Returns.
Oh, well, that was definitely the right choice, Danny. Well done. Well done.
And then their second choice, you'll never guess who their second Mario is going to be. This person is also short, but is way too like good of an actor to play Mario. They wanted Dustin Hoffman.
Oh. Okay.
Yep.
Shoot for the stars, a la Rain Man. Got it.
And Dustin Hoffman was interested, but the producers ended up going in different directions because they actually thought he was too old for the role.
Oh. I mean, yeah.
But they went with Bob Hoskins instead, who had done Who Framed Roger Rabbit back in '88, and he had just been Shmi in Hook in '91 with Dustin
the
Hoffman.
other piece. That's right. I kept thinking, like, where else have I seen him from? Okay,
Yep.
got it.
And I think Hoskins and Hoffman are probably around the same age.
Probably.
And so the fact that the producers thought Hoffman was too old, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Hoffman, his hair goes a little bit more gray, and so because it's just
Yep,
lighter.
that's true.
And so maybe that adds like 15 years to him. I don't know.
Sure.
But you're right. They probably are exactly the same
Yeah.
age.
Yep. And I would be interested to see if any actor could have saved this movie. But I do have I do have some ideas. So,
Oh,
but I'm going to talk about it when we get to Luigi in just a second.
Okay.
So Bob Hoskins, when he got cast in this movie, one of the stipulations for him to sign on was he wanted to be put in a mansion for the entire shoot.
Oh.
And so he lived in this mansion the entire time, and then he would visit the cast outside of his mansion, and the cast was always partying, and he was like, why are you guys partying without me? They're like, well, you're up in your mansion, so we're just getting drunk every night and like having these crazy
Off a
parties.
set.
And he's like, well, I want to be with you guys, and I want you guys to come to my mansion and party with me all the time. So he was like a party boy.
Wow.
Hoskins was.
Okay.
Yep. We're going to talk a little bit more about the alcohol and drug consumption that happened on this shoot.
Oh, wow.
So the first choice for Luigi,
Mhm.
do you have any guesses?
No.
Okay, this is
I
where,
already said no.
This is where I think it would have been cool. If you had Danny DeVito as a short little round Mario,
Mm-hmm.
and then Luigi's typically taller and skinnier, Think about somebody who was a comedic actor in the late 80s who is super famous right now. Like super, super famous. We all love him. We might have just recently got his book.
Tom Hanks?
Yep.
What?
Because Tom Hanks, at this point in his career, he had done Big in 88. And then Joe vs. the Volcano was like, I think, 90. And then The Burbs, Turner and Hooch. He does after this, the same year this comes out, he does Philadelphia.
Oh.
And then he does Forrest Gump in 94. He wins back-to-back Oscars. He was not a serious, quote, actor yet. He was a comedic actor. And so imagine Danny DeVito and Tom Hanks in this movie. Do they save it?
No. I love them so much. In fact, that would have killed their careers and all future love that I'd have for either of them. So thank God they didn't.
Okay, let me ask you this. If I told you the first choice for Koopa was not Dennis Hopper, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now tell me, is this movie saved?
Pump
It's got
the brakes.
Danny DeVito and Tom Hanks as Mario and Luigi going up against Arnold Schwarzenegger as King Koopa.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point. I think he may have been the only piece that could have saved this.
Yeah?
Yeah, he feels like the right missing ingredient to me.
I think that movie is very intriguing. So, to go back to Luigi, so John Leguizamo ends up getting the role, and partly because Tom Hanks turns it down so he could do one of your favorite movies of all time, A League of Their Own.
Oh, that's right. That was around this time.
He does that in 93. So he turns it down to do League of
Good
Their Own.
choice, Tom. Good choice.
And then Leguizamo scores the role. Leguizamo had hardly done anything. He was one of the main bad guys in Die Hard 2, but this was a breakout for him.
He was one of the main bad guys? I've never seen Die Hard 2,
in the second Die Hard.
Okay,
It's the
I
whole,
can't see him.
Yeah, it's this guy. It's one that the whole last part takes place on a plane and stuff. So I don't think you've seen that one. For Koopa though, Arnold turned it down for Last Action Hero, and then they circled to another person, and they asked Michael Keaton if he would do it, and he's like, "No, I'm doing Batman Returns with Danny DeVito. Why are you even asking me this right now?
I'm Michael Keaton.
Why would I do this?" But Dennis Hopper was like, "Oh, I'll do it." So Dennis Hopper, his son had asked him, like, "Dad," I think he had even read the script, or maybe this is post. I was confused on this literature here, but he said, "Why would you do this movie, Dad? This movie's awful. You're a really good actor." And Dennis Hopper goes, "Because you need shoes." And then his son goes, "I don't need shoes that bad, Dad." Like, this would mean I need shoes very bad.
Wow.
So Hopper was in Hoosiers, which is a movie that's on our Summers Off list
Okay.
for me to share with you.
Very good.
And he did that back in 86. And then he did the second Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a terrible movie, but really fun. And then he's going to do Speed right after this.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember he's the bad guy in Speed?
I did not, but that
You've
helps.
seen Speed, right?
I have seen Speed, yes.
Because that's a classic.
I've seen it.
It's
is
really
great. It was
good.
my first rated R movie.
Ooh. When did you see it? Like on VHS? Like you guys rented it from the movie store?
Yeah, I think I was in 4th grade.
And your parents were like, "Rach, go ahead. Take a seat with us."
No, this was at a friend's house.
Oh, you had to sneak it, you sneaky devil.
Well, I didn't know it was rated R until I looked. I was like, oh.
Princess Daisy.
Princess Daisy. She also looked familiar.
Okay, well, I don't have anything written down from a live action film that you know her from,
Oh, okay.
but you know her voice.
Do I?
Her voice was from a popular animated movie that was not Disney that I know you watched because we talk about this movie. Think Fairies in Nature.
Fern Gully.
She's the main girl in Fern Gully.
She is.
Yep,
Oh, cool.
that's her voice.
Do you know they're doing a remake of that?
No, that movie's really cool.
Yeah, they might be doing like a live action though.
Oh, okay. I'm confused now. I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to see a bunch of people pretending to be fairies flying around and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know either. Maybe it's like more CGI.
I would love it
don't
if it
know.
was just an animated update.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think Jim Carrey's going to be the voice of
the sludge
probably.
monster.
I think so.
Oh man,
Ooh.
who was the first? Yeah, the first one has. Oh, it's Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Oh, he's really good.
Oh, yeah.
Go watch Fern Gully instead of this movie.
That's a great movie,
so,
as I recall.
Her name is Samantha Mathis. Guess what?
What?
She was dating River Phoenix when he died.
Oh,
She
wow.
was, yeah, and he dies right before this movie releases.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. So she has a really hard time because she loses River, and then this
Mm-hmm.
horrible movie comes out in the same year.
Oof.
You know, it was a rough one for her, I bet.
Yeah.
And then a couple other people I want to point out to you. There's 2 other people that you noticed as like, oh, that's so-and-so. Rach, who is Koopa's wife or girlfriend or some other weird character who had love interest character for Koopa in this movie?
Yeah. She is the actress who plays Harry Potter's aunt.
Yeah.
Aunt Petunia.
Aunt Petunia. And then there was another surprise character who played Iggy in this movie. There's Iggy and Spike, the little henchman.
Yes.
And Iggy is another person that we've seen just recently.
He is an actor on Succession. He's one... I can't think of
I don't know his name.
Gary, maybe?
I don't know.
No,
he's got
Gary.
a goatee. He hangs out with Dagmara. If you listen to our Count of Monte Cristo episode, he hangs out with her a lot. He's always like doing publicity stuff.
Yeah, but he's in it.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Oh, hey.
And when I saw him, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you since the Mario Brothers movie. And that's probably when I had the idea. I was like, we're doing Mario Brothers.
Hey, I've got a good idea.
All right, Rach, 10 days before filming, the producers all meet and they say, this movie is too dark. We need to rewrite the script, make it more kiddie, make it more funny. They need to add comedic elements. And the British directors who were weird that they brought in were super pissed.
Sure. Can you do that? Can you do like major overhaul rewrites 10 days before you begin filming?
Oh,
like, that's crazy.
Babe, they do more than that. So they are going to do rewrites daily.
Daily?
And you're going to find out there's going to be an actor who freaks out.
Oh my gosh.
Dennis Hopper hated all the rewrites. He has like a rampage one day on set and he just like flips out and he's like, you guys are so unprofessional. He's like mad at the directors. He's like, you're terrible, your jobs. This is so unprofessional. This is the most unprofessional set I've ever been on in my life. This is stupid. You guys are all awful.
That Koopa clown is one evil, egg-sucking son of a snake.
In front of everybody. And it's a big scene with like tons of extras around, supporting characters around. Like it's a full set.
Yeah.
And he just rips into everybody because they had handed him a paper and said like, hey, here's your new lines for today.
Oh,
and he's
gosh.
like, what? I'm on set. Like,
Yeah.
you can't do this to me right now.
Yeah, I'm prepped. I'm ready. Oh, and given what I saw for the lines that he read, I'm sure they weren't better than what he had before.
No, they had to be terrible. Like all the lines the dialogue is awful in this movie. And so they would do it like soap operas. They would give actors new scripts every morning. And what ended up happening is the actors couldn't memorize that fast. And so the actors would just be like, I kind of got the gist. I'm just going to ad-lib it. And so a lot of what you saw in this movie is a ton of ad-libbing. Just a crazy amount of ad-libbing.
Oh, my God.
In fact, Iggy and Spike, the henchmen, they ad-libbed a scene that got cut from the movie where they're in a car, but we saw it because guys, if you want to watch this movie is like hidden away and it's like stuck in like this internet database if you want to go get it. And you're going to do some searching.
I didn't know how you found it.
My brother had to find it for me. So it's only available in the UK to stream. So hopefully you've already seen it. Or you're going to buy the DVD for like $3 on Amazon. It's really cheap. But you can't stream it. And if you want to get it, I'll like figure out a way. I think I have it in this format somewhere where I'll throw out to you what the website is. And you can search for it at that point. But don't get it taken down, you little devils. And so Iggy and Spike, they're in this car and they're doing this ad-lib scene together. Ends up getting cut from the movie, but the directors love it. They think it's so funny. They think these guys are so talented. And they tell them, the whole movie, just ad-lib your lines. Here's a general gist. Everything is just yours. And so those guys, like every time you saw them, they're almost like just ad-libbing and like making up their own stuff. Including that, we saw a cut rap that they do.
Oh, yeah.
That rap they made it up.
Well, stop and think this through. It's time to get rid of you know who. A radical development is taking place. Iggy. And Spike will set the pace. Koopa, the party Koopa, the Poopa Super.
I wish I could say that I was like impressed, but I'm just more like, yeah.
It kind of just makes sense, right?
It all feels made up. It all feels like everyone just showed up to set and was like, okay, I don't know where the story's going. I think I have an idea. Maybe it's different from your idea, and we're just going to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like improv.
In the worst way. This is
the
not like
worst
Waiting
way.
for Guffman improv.
No.
This is like improv gone wrong.
Bad improv.
Yes. Yep. It really is like kind of the difference between good versus bad improv because in the other one they're like yes and in this one they're like let me show you what I'm gonna do. Oh, I've got some ideas. I'm gonna take my character on this ride. Hopefully you guys want to come along with me. It's like no, that's not the direction we're gonna go.
Well, and the story itself that they're trying to tell is so much more complicated, right? Like it doesn't even compute. I can't even begin to explain it to you because it doesn't make sense. You just have to watch it to know. Crystals and meteors and other dimensions and lizard people and they tried to explain it and that was maybe the number one error that they made. Just trying to explain it away.
So the directors wanted this to be way more serious. And so they would film parts. They ended up just getting cut by the producers. They actually got locked out of the editing room at the end of this, and they get fired like the last day of set. Oh my god. And they're like, you're done. You're out of here. You're not allowed in the editing room. Bye. The producers like take over that award-winning director. He's like, I'm going to finish this film up.
Wow.
But the directors wanted it to be so serious, so they tried to have moments where even though the scripts they were getting handed were so kiddie, that they would like add elements of like, this is mature. And so that's why, and we saw it in the cuts because we saw this extended version that was an extra like 25 minutes. And there's a scene where they go to a club. This is a scene where Mario dances with the gal in red.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll get into that scene a little bit later. And there's like strippers. There's people who are scantily clad who have like lizard tails on and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the directors. They're like, let's put them, they're in a strip club. Not just a normal like club that's weird that people are dancing the same dino dance. Let's put them in a strip club.
A seedy underbelly of the Mario world.
Yep.
I don't remember there being any strip clubs in the video game. Am I remembering that wrong?
No, you're not remembering that wrong. There's no strip club level.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Yep. Even though he does jump onto a pole at the end of each stage. You remember he tries to get to that flag.
Yeah, I would say maybe that's an homage.
Yeah, maybe that's what the homage was.
Very loose homage.
And very heady, very clever.
Very heady.
Yeah.
I would say maybe this is just too heady, and maybe I just don't get it.
I would say that that's very possible, that you just don't get it.
I just don't get it.
You don't have a PhD.
I don't, and neither do they, so.
Yeah, but as somebody who's going to get one soon, I
Yeah.
feel like I understand this movie a little bit better than you.
Yeah, you might. That makes sense.
Yeah. So speaking of ad-libbing, that whole scene with Luigi making the lizards like sway to that music when they're in the elevator. Do you want to explain this scene?
Oh, I would love to.
Were you asleep?
No, I remember it. I'm just thinking like, because I'm still kind of confused by it.
Yeah, because there was no point to it, right?
Was there? I don't know. So they're in an elevator and they're kind of trying to hide behind these what do we call them?
Goombas,
which look nothing like the cute little brown
evil mushrooms,
the little grumpy eyebrows from the game. They are like a full body in like weird uniform, weird military uniform, and then they have like little toy dinosaur heads. About the size of your hand that are like maybe like little puppets. So the head does not match the body. Anyways, I'm getting lost. I'm getting lost in this world.
Dude, I'm getting lost talking about it too. This movie, it does something to you. You're like, I'll never recover.
Did that happen? I don't know. But yeah, so they're trying to escape this elevator with all of these guys in it, and he just starts like kind of like pushing them a little bit, so they start like swaying. And then all of a sudden they're all dancing with each other, and maybe that's the distraction so that they can get out. I don't remember what the point of it was.
Yeah, there was really no point, and it was actually a John Leguizamo ad-lib.
Oh.
He was like, they were hanging out in the elevator, figuring out like, okay, so now you guys are going to jump out of it and like sneak away while it's full or whatever. And then he was like, what if we have them, there's music playing in the elevator, what if we have them dance? And then they dance with each other, and they're like, yeah, let's go with it. So that whole scene was just like an in-the-moment John Leguizamo ad-lib that you're like, what was the point of all this?
Yeah.
It was stupid.
Well, it never came back, and I think that's just what it was. This was
they did have that moment where Dennis Hopper is like trying to kill Mario and Luigi, and then somebody comes on like the intercom. They're like, Master Koopa, the Goombas are dancing again. There was that moment.
Oh, that's adorable then.
Yeah, it was totally worth it then.
Totally worth it.
Brilliant,
I get it.
Leguizamo.
Very
Brilliant.
well done.
So Dennis Hopper wasn't the only person who hated these directors. Bob Hoskins said they were effing terrible.
Oh, yes.
He thought the directors were just
Who played Mario.
the worst. Yeah, Bob Hoskins, who's Mario. And so here's a story about something that happened on set. And I don't know if Hoskins and Hopper saw this, but this is just like a story that happened.
Okay.
And I'm sure there was litigation that happened on top of it or like a huge payout. There was an extra who was on set that one of the directors wanted them to appear dirtier in this dirty underbelly Koopa land. And so he poured coffee on the extra, but he didn't realize, he thought the coffee had been sitting out. And it was a freshly poured cup of coffee. So he poured hot coffee on this extra to like make him look dirty, like make them look dirtier. I don't know if it was a boy or a girl. And then the person was like burning. He's like, ah, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And so then he takes a cup of water and he pours the cup of water on them.
What?
And so these directors are just like out of their minds.
Yeah.
Like they're a husband-wife duo and they blame everybody around them for everything that's happening on set. And they're just like shit shows.
Yeah.
And don't know what they're doing and pouring hot coffee on extras. And this is a big scene where other people are around. They're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I was in that scene where that
I remember
extra
when that...
got hot coffee poured on them.
Oh my gosh.
And then got cold water doused on them in a way to like try to help out what was happening to them.
Who thinks to like make somebody look dirtier by pouring coffee on them too? Let's just say for hypothetical sake, it was room temp coffee. That still is a terrible idea.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not gonna do anything. It's like it might make their clothes, if their clothes are like a little bit more like washed. But again, isn't that a costumer piece? Isn't that
for
something
sure.
like, why don't you go back to costume and dirty this person up a bit, and they'll figure it out in their costumer ways.
Absolutely. Yep.
What?
I know.
That's just so bizarre.
This whole experience, this whole movie and the behind the scenes experience is absolutely bizarre is the word. Because it's just crazy. So they had spent too much money on all the rewrites and all the different like changes and creative teams and things.
Sure.
And so money was running low. And I'm going to give you the budget at the end of this. And you're going to be like, what the heck? How did they waste all this money? And so they wasted all this creative team money. And so they didn't know what the F was happening. And they were struggling because they were like, we want to film this in New York. Makes sense to be filmed in New York.
Sure.
But we only have enough money to film just like the New York portion in New York.
Okay.
All the like Koopa Land stuff on the other dimension, we're going to move to this big cement warehouse that's in North Carolina because it's really cheap.
Oh, okay.
But the problem is, it had been discontinued not that long ago, and there's still cement particles that are in the air. And so everybody, when they're on set and they're not acting, have to wear like respirator masks because there's these cement particles that are flying around.
Oh my gosh.
And when they're not inhaling particles, though.
Yeah, when they're not killing themselves.
Yeah, and shortening their lifespans, they decided to inhale all kinds of other things because after the
drug segue,
when it's time for the set to drop for the rest of the night and it's time to go home, it was party central. The extras, the featured actors, everybody just partying so hard.
Yeah.
They said there's tons of drugs on this set,
Sure.
like just an incredible amount of drugs. I don't have anything that Hoskins and Leguizamo were using drugs, but they were two of the most unprofessional actors I've ever read about.
Oh, seriously?
And this is Leguizamo's like big breakout.
I really enjoy him too.
I do too.
Usually.
And he had a great experience on the set. Hoskins did not. And one way to cope for Hoskins was they would take whiskey shots after every take. And so they would just get smashed. And most of the scenes that not most of the scenes, that's not fair. And a lot of the scenes that you'll see in the movie, they are wasted.
What?
Just drunk off their asses. And Leguizamo felt like he could do this because Hoskins was like the bigger actor, and this is what Hoskins was doing. And he was like, well, I'm like, this is a big moment for me. I'm just going to kind of follow his lead, and I guess this is what you do. And this is building camaraderie and stuff.
Yeah, this will be good for my career.
And they would do this like from more early in the morning until night, until the shoot was done.
Oh my gosh.
And so even during some daytime shoots, there's a scene where Leguizamo is driving a van in New York in the middle of the day, and they're trying to get to like a plumbing job. Do you remember this at the beginning of the film?
Yeah.
And Leguizamo is wasted.
Oh no.
And drunk driving the whole time. And he's so drunk, he takes this turn and almost flips the van, and the van door was open so they could get a picture of Hoskins while it's going. And the van door is because he's so jostled, it closes, and it closes right on Hoskins' hand, and it breaks, I think, one of his fingers.
Oh, God. Ow.
Yep, he broke a finger from it because it slams into his finger.
Ah.
And yeah, so it was a nut house.
Oh my gosh, it's a nightmare. Just an absolute nightmare. I can't imagine being on set. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, how would you do as like Daisy? Pretend you're Daisy. You're dating a very serious actor in River Phoenix.
Oh yeah.
And you've got Mario and Luigi who are getting drunk on set all the time. A director's pouring hot coffee on an extra. Dennis Hopper who's freaking out at the directors. Like, what would you do?
I would go inward so fast.
Yeah,
I'd
you
just like lock
keep a low
myself in my
profile?
room and be like, when this is over, I will write a memoir and it will sell. And I just have to wait for that day.
Oh my gosh. So the film finally releases on May 28th, 1993. By the way, I'm getting through all this production stuff.
Yeah.
And we can just talk about moments in the movie.
Absolutely.
Talk about the experience.
This is great. The background of it is helping me make sense of it.
Okay.
You're helping me process what I just experienced, and I really appreciate that.
That's what I would say is important to do after this movie is like really, if you're in therapy, this is a good movie to watch right before therapy and not like, okay, I've got a week that I have to process this on my own. You're going to need some help, just kind of like sitting with it and talking through what just happened.
For sure.
And give yourself grace.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself grace that you're never going to understand. You're never going to be the same after this one.
Spoken as two people who are both currently in therapy. I will bring this up.
Yeah. So how was the week? I watched the Mario Brothers movie.
Oh,
did you like it? We just saw it too. Nope, not that one.
That
Not
one.
that one.
Not-
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I might need a few fidgets for today's session.
Oh, I love this hypothetical. It's so funny.
The film releases on May 28th, 1993. Like we said, end of kindergarten. I was growing apple trees. Do you have any funny kindergarten stories
Not as
you'd like
good
to share
as
with the
that.
listeners?
Gosh, let me circle back to that. You keep going.
Okay.
I gotta think about it.
Okay. The movie cost $48 million to make. And in 93, that's
a lot of money.
a shit ton of money.
Oh my gosh.
They make $21 million domestic and only $18 million abroad. So this is a $39 million flop. They lose $9 million on this.
Ouch.
Flop City.
That's a hard pill to swallow, I'd imagine.
When it released, it was number 4 at the box office. And it was like not against good competition. Let me tell you the movies that it was up against.
Yeah.
Dave, which is a comedic like president movie.
Oh, yeah.
Made in America, which is a Whoopi Goldberg, like she's looking for her sperm donor dad and ends up being like a white guy.
Okay.
And then Cliffhanger, which is like a Stallone terrorist plane movie.
Okay.
So this is a weak time in cinema, but it's not going to be weak for long
Uh-oh.
because in 2 weeks, an actual dinosaur movie is going to come out, Rach, in 1993.
Land Before Time?
We were just talking about how much we love Land Before Time, but no, I think that was out even earlier. I think
you're thinking of Jurassic Park?
Yep, Jurassic Park.
Not Land Before Time. Okay.
Great, but hey, both great dinosaur movies. Can we just take a second and acknowledge their greatness?
Thank you.
Which movie do you like better, Rach, between those two?
Oh, Land Before Time, hands down.
Oh my gosh, what a
There's
hot
like
take.
8 of them. It's so great.
Oh, dude, there's more than that.
No, it's
I think
obvious.
there's 16.
What?
I think there's 16 Land Before Time
Double
movies.
digits?
Oh, easily double digits. I know that to be a fact. It's at least 12. I would if we're putting Price is Right rules and I don't want to go over, I'd say 12, but
Okay.
I think there's 16. If I had to put money on
No,
it.
I jest. Jurassic Park as the first movie is the best. But Land Before Time as a series is far superior, I think.
So you would watch okay.
I watch all of them.
This is a good hypothetical for you. You have to watch all 16 Land Before Times.
Which I have.
Which aren't even that
Probably.
long though. They're like sometimes not even 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like there maybe some of them are like an hour.
Yeah, maybe.
Or you have to watch all the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies, including the last one that came out that everybody hated. That was like a 3-hour movie. What do you pick?
Land Before Time.
You do?
I do.
You literally picked the Land Before Time movies.
I literally pick Land Before Time. I'm not even jesting. A part of that is because it's less scary.
Okay.
Those ones are a little like dinosaurs make me a little nervous.
Sure.
As they should.
They
as
should
they
make you
should.
nervous,
Anyone
yeah.
trying to recreate dinosaurs right
Yeah,
now.
it's like watching like a lion documentary. You shouldn't think I want to cuddle with those
I'm a
lions. You should
little
be You
nervous.
should be
Yeah.
nervous.
Yeah, I would say Land Before Time.
Well, back to Jurassic Park. If I told you Jurassic Park only cost $15 million more than this movie,
Oh my
so
gosh.
like that's the difference between how much
Oh,
money went
wow.
into this Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
It was only $15 million away from Jurassic Park.
Wow. It almost touched greatness.
It almost touched
Had
greatness.
someone just upped their budget just 15 mil more, I think we could have been.
We could have done
been
it.
there. Greatest movie of all time.
So, and guess how much Jurassic Park grosses?
Oh, I don't know. A couple bill.
No, it was just one bill, but still,
one
it was
bill?
a bill. It was a cool bill.
It's still grossing. I don't think we've seen it reach its
That's
cap
true.
yet.
That's probably true. Let's talk taglines.
Okay. Oh, taglines.
Can two plumbers save the world from going down the drain? And this ain't no game.
I would agree with that sentiment 100%.
Which one?
This ain't no game.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
This is not the game.
This is not the game.
This is not the game. It's too late.
Rotten Tomatoes score, do you want to guess?
Is there a 0%?
There are 0% movies.
There are 0%.
Actually
I didn't know
looked-
if they ever gave a 0%.
So,
I'm just curious.
full disclosure, I was
Just
looking up
asking.
worst movies of all time before we hopped on the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and Rotten Tomatoes has a list. But the problem is, Rotten Tomatoes has a lot of 0% movies.
Oh.
There's a lot of movies that have gotten 0, and so this movie was not on it because it's not a 0%er.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to give it, for Rotten Tomatoes,
Yep.
I'm going to guess they gave it a 9%,
Higher.
12%,
Higher.
20%.
29%.
29%?
Yep. And audience score. Do you have a guess for audience score?
No. I don't want to know what they thought.
Equally 29%.
Wow.
Yeah, really impressive.
What a match.
So that means over 1 in 4 people like this movie.
Way to spin that positively.
Yeah. So if you're one of those 1 in 4, I just want you to know, I'm sorry I've been shitting on your favorite movie, but I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad people get joy out of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I am.
I am too.
But this movie,
Did not spark joy for me.
no, it's not any good. So here's the critics' consensus.
Mm-hmm.
Despite flashy sets and special effects, Super Mario Bros. Is too light on story and substance to be anything more than a novelty.
That was a pretty heady review, I'll be honest. Like, versus like, this
Yeah.
is garbage.
Yeah, yeah.
Why are we watching this? That would be
It should have been
what I
like
would have said.
Super Mario Brothers Dino Land. Nah, it's Dino Crap.
Yeah.
That would have been a good
Put
one.
just as much time into the critics'
Yeah,
consensus
yeah.
as they did into the movie.
Absolutely. That's a really great point. And Rotten Tomatoes is usually good about that.
Mm-hmm.
So here is some popular reviews, though.
Okay.
And you're going to be shocked.
No.
The Chicago Tribune says, it's no stinker. The
It's no
Washington...
stinker. What do you mean it's no stinker?
It's no stinker.
That's it?
Yeah, it's not a bad movie.
Does stinker have to do with anything? Like, is that like, are they trying
No,
to
I don't
be,
think so.
they're not trying to be witty somehow?
Nope. Nope, I don't think
Drains and plumbers? Is
so.
that what they're
Maybe.
trying to do?
I don't know. I don't believe so, but I don't know. Maybe.
All right, continue.
And then Washington Post says, it's a blast.
No.
But Siskel says, this is one of the worst movies of the year. You give it 2 thumbs down.
Oh, no.
And the Baltimore Sun says, Yoshi has more personality than all the actors put together.
Yoshi.
Yoshi!
Yoshi steals the show again.
Yoshi is the best.
He is the best.
And I do think it's important to take a second and say, I actually thought Daisy, the actress who played Daisy, she's trying.
She was trying.
She was trying.
To her detriment. She was trying.
Yeah.
Do you eat?
Yeah,
Dinner?
sure.
All right.
Tonight?
Oh, okay,
At 6 o'clock, all right?
Be here.
great. Bye.
But I mean, the movie doesn't feel like it's supposed to be kiddie because it's trying to be serious, but then it's also interlated with this like kiddie dialogue. And so it just doesn't know what it wants to be stylistically. So I won't even say she doesn't fit the style because she actually kind of does fit the style like that in the movie inherently wants to be. and it's just the dialogue fights the style.
Sure.
And so it's like, well, she kind of
Can
she
you
kind
blame
of
her?
does the best she could have possibly done. I don't know what I would have even told her.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I don't know.
Don't do this movie.
Yeah, I would have said,
You're too good for this.
Yep.
Get out of here.
Yeah, keep hanging. Yeah, River, like the stuff that the great acting that you've had, like symbiotic relationship with River Phoenix, like just enjoy that. And like this movie is going to be a black mark on your career, and I'm sorry for that.
I'm sorry for that.
What'd you think of some of the other actors in this movie?
I actually thought Aunt Petunia was pretty good.
Aunt Petunia was great.
I actually enjoyed her as a villain, and I kind of wish she was the main villain, even
Yep.
though she's not really a real character.
Yeah.
Now let me guess. Which one of you is Daisy?
What do you know about my mother?
She was quite an inspiration. To some. When Cooper took over, she stole the rock and smuggled you to the other side. And she died.
What about my father? Is he alive?
It depends on what you mean by living.
Yeah, she had
would
some
have been-
great lizardisms.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah, good anamorphizations.
Anthropomorphization.
Anthropomorphizations. For the listeners who don't know and don't speak Greek, what that is acting or picking like an animal and then kind of taking on some characteristics of that. So because all of these creatures or these characters in this underworld other dimension are formerly dinosaurs,
Yep.
a lot of them like maybe were like T-Rexes, and so they walked with their arms up by their chest, or like she was a lizard, but she just kind of also has kind of an interesting bird-like look about her, so she kind
Yeah.
of just is a lizard.
Yeah, for sure.
So she was really good at that.
Yeah.
Other people could have taken some notes.
Mm-hmm. What'd you think of Hopper? Dennis Hopper as King Koopa.
You know, yeah, it was challenging at times, but I could see glimpses of like, you're not terrible. Like,
Yeah.
but I think you're overthinking a lot of this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
King Koopa here.
Oh, yes, sir.
I'd like the Koopa special.
Pterodactyl tail on that?
Yes. Dino, lizard, hold the mammal, no worms, and spicy.
And then what'd you think of our main two plumber boys?
Well, the fact that they were drunk, that helps a little bit. But honestly, I didn't know that they were drunk in it, so that's pretty good acting.
Yeah, I actually...
I was surprised by
I knew that, and I was watching. I was even watching the bus scene, the van scene, where I knew
where it
he was going to
almost
break
tips.
his finger or whatever. And I was like, I mean, I can see he's driving crazy, but they don't look drunk around the scene or anything. I'm like, oh, okay.
What would you do without your big brother?
I'd like to give it a shot and find out.
Come on.
I was just about to ask her that.
You weren't about to ask her nothing. You was gonna let her go.
Now she's gonna think I'm a complete idiot.
Come on, you're gonna see it tonight. You impress her with your manners.
Yeah, but why did you tell her that I sucked my thumb, huh?
It's going to be hard for me to really blame anything on any of these actors in this, even
Yeah.
though the performances are mostly garbage. But I can't put the onus there. I just can't, because what would I have done in this world?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been anything special, and it wouldn't have been anything different than what we saw.
We'll talk about Yoshi here in a second, so you can hang on to some Yoshi takes.
Okay.
So Hoskins, he got his ass kicked during this entire movie. We already talked about him breaking his finger.
Yeah.
But he was also electrocuted at one point, and he got stabbed 4 times, and then he thought he was going to drown at one point.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a terrible experience.
For sure. And so this is one of the reasons why he just hated it. So he was asked in an interview, they said, hey, this is retrospectively end of his career. They said, what's your biggest regret of your career? And he goes, Super Mario Brothers. And then you go, oh, okay. What's like the biggest disappointment you had in your career? He goes, Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
And they go,
Same question.
and then what's something that you would change in your career if you could change anything? He goes, Mario Brothers.
Who is the interviewer? Why are they asking the same
Well, I
questions
think they
3
thought
times?
he would maybe pick like different things and like elaborate about different parts of his career. And he was like, nope, all the answers to all those things, it's Mario Brothers.
It's such a blight. Like, what else do you say?
It was absolutely terrible. I wish I could just wipe it clean from everything. He didn't even know he was doing a video game movie. His son had to tell him, like, after he was cast, because he just took it for the money. And his son was like, I don't even know what this Mario Brothers movie's about. He's like, Dad, it's a video game. He's like, it's a video game? He's like, yeah. It's like in the arcade.
It's gonna be
like
amazing.
the old Donkey Kong and
It's a
stuff.
wonderful game. You're gonna love it. You're just gonna be so great.
Yep.
What a awesome job you're gonna do.
You know what Leguizamo says about this movie, though?
He likes it?
He says he's very proud of it. What would you say to Leguizamo if he told you? He said, John, what was it like being in, I know you did Moulin Rouge. We could talk about Moulin Rouge and all the fun you had in that. But I would like to just take a second. What do you think of your Super Mario Brothers experience? And he goes, I'm really proud of that one.
Do you think there's a part of it that's being a little facetious?
I don't know.
That could be very funny.
I bet.
I'm very proud of that one.
I bet for him, it was like his first big breakout, you know?
Yeah.
And it really sets his career up to take another jump after this. He does not falter from this.
Yeah. Well, by all accounts, he has a great time at it. So,
you're getting drunk the whole time.
Maybe it has just mostly fond memories for him in that regard because it was just a blast. It was coming of age for him. So. Yeah,
I think he does Carlito's Way shortly after this, which is like a kind of a gangster movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's in Romeo and Juliet as Tybalt, like in 96.
He's so good.
Oh, he's amazing as Tybalt. Best part of that whole movie. He is. He's the best. The movie's terrible. He's the best. I'm looking at Rach like, don't
Period.
argue it. That's an exclamation point.
We've already
that
had
is
this
not
discussion.
a question mark. Rach, did you know Yoshi has a full name?
No. I did not know that.
If you were going to make Yoshi's full name, we found out Mario's full name's Mario and Luigi's Luigi Mario. Did you catch that in the movie? Rach just like so dumbfounded right now.
Wait, what?
Mario, and Luigi Mario, and their favorite pet named, not Yoshi. What's his full name? Just guess.
Yoshiyaba.
Okay, good. Hey, you're on the right track.
Yeah.
T. Yoshizor Muchakoopas. Munchakoopas. Sorry, Munchakoopas. Because he eats the Koopas.
Because he eats Koopas.
Yep.
Go ahead and say it. Dinosaur. Yoshi is a pet of the royal family. You may pet him. Just don't move your hands around like a small wounded animal.
You must be the great Koopa.
Which, by the way,
very fun.
Those little Goombas, they should have just been Koopas. Because that's what they were. Koopas are like little lizardy things you jump on.
Yeah.
Little turtley deals.
It's funny because now you're talking like in other languages as you're speaking like this like made up Mario language, which is what the movie should have been.
It should have been.
But it wasn't.
Yep. Yep. So that Yoshi could move in 64 different ways and was controlled by 9 different puppeteers.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of the Yoshi?
I bet that probably got Spielberg thinking about what he wanted to do for his animatronics.
Yep.
And I would be surprised if we actually don't see Yoshi play a little cameo somewhere in Jurassic Park. Don't you think? Like from a set piece, they'd be like, hey, well, we're going to buy that off you too. We're going to add him.
Sure.
Because he's pretty good looking.
He's pretty cute.
His eyes are a bit too big. They're too cute.
Yeah.
So you got to fix the eyes. But otherwise, he's very dino-like.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Would you have pet him?
I'd have to see those teeth.
Yeah, I mean, he's got teeth. So Yoshi is like chained to a wall, and Daisy's in this room, and like Yoshi's kind of like meow.
He's making some
very
really
sweet
cute noises. But was it a trap so he could bite your hand?
I don't know, because he's probably really hungry. Because he looked really hungry when those steaks came in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, in this world, yeah, I would have, because he's like so cute. But yeah, in real world, no, I wouldn't pet a dinosaur chained to a wall. But in this world, I would.
But what if a really bad guy, was like, yeah, we hate Yoshi, he sucks. So you know that he hates Yoshi. Mm-hmm. Then would you? Because you're like, oh, the enemy of my enemy.
The enemy of thine enemy. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think I would try to pet him. I think I would like be making sure he's at chain's length, and then I'd like reach out my hand to touch his little nose. No! Yeah, I wouldn't know he's got that long tongue. He can get you.
That's right.
Yeah. But the Yoshi's so cute. It is one of the best parts of this whole movie.
It is, except for at one point he gets stabbed.
Oh, yeah. But Aunt Petunia from Harry Potter stabs him.
Stabs him with a needle I don't know what he gets stabbed with. But it's like, whoa, that's when you talk about the darker content mixed in. It's like, wait, what?
Yep. And he goes,
I don't know. That's the saddest part of the whole movie.
Rach, this is some Mario trivia. This is just Mario in general.
Uh-oh. Okay.
I just like looked this up and I was like, oh, this is interesting. You know who Wario is?
Yes.
Okay, explain to the listeners who don't know anything about Mario Brothers. Who's Wario?
Oh, you're gonna make me do it?
No,
so
I mean, like,
Wario
it's
is
not- you don't have to be
like
intense about it.
Bizarro Mario.
Yeah.
He's just bad, and he's like got a little yellow outfit and a silly mustache that looks like
He
a
goes,
lightning bolt. Yeah,
That's his laugh.
That's a great impression.
Okay, did you know? Here's some backstory on Wario and Mario.
Okay.
Just for our listeners who might not know.
Okay.
Wario and Mario used to be best friends.
Oh.
But then he got jealous of how hot and how good with a plunger Mario was and decided to become his worst enemy. That's the backstory. That's what I do love about the Mario Brothers universe. It's very simple. It's
Yeah.
just like, we used to be best friends, then I got jealous of him, and now I hate him.
You don't need to overcomplicate it because the human nature of it we can fill in the blanks. We understand that.
I get that.
We get that.
I've also had best friends who I thought were good looking and better at home skills than me, and now I hate them. Like Chip.
Chip?
Yeah. Chip.
Your best friend Chip?
Yep. Chip and Joanna.
Chip Gaines?
Yep, Chip Gaines. Hate that guy. Him and I used to be so tight. He's so funny and so charming. I hate him. Do you know what super scopes are?
No.
They were like this gun thing that you could do on Super Nintendo. It was so fun.
Okay.
You'd like put it on your shoulder almost, like a shoulder rig, camera rig almost, and then you like push a button and you'd fire at the TV. And there was like this little, it was almost like a Wii motion sensor that you put on top of your TV, and it would sense like where you were, and you'd play like games where you'd shoot at stuff.
Some early Wii stuff.
Super fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, like an early Wii. And in this movie, a lot of the guns that they were shooting that shoot fireballs, those are just super scopes.
They're just super scopes.
Yeah.
They're literally just from the store.
They just bought super scopes, they gussied them up a little bit, and that's what they're shooting flames out of. Why do we need a bunch of like flame effects and everything in this movie?
Why don't we need a bunch of flame effects in this movie? If not to just like gild the lily.
Yeah, gild the lily.
Gild the lily.
Absolutely, that's a good way
Throw
to put
some
it.
flames at it.
Yep.
Let's flip that car.
The car stunts in this movie are so needless. And they're ridiculous.
And so impressive.
Very impressive. A bunch of demolition cars and stuff. So I have like just a ton of things from this movie that I want to talk about. I want to make sure that you get to as well. I just want to ask your opinion. But my first question that I think is important just right off the bat to address. Double Dragon versus Mortal Kombat versus Super Mario Brothers.
In that order, what you just described.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Double Dragon is also a shit show.
Yeah. In fact,
it's amazing.
There are parts of the world of New Los Angeles that reminded me of wherever the heck we are in this other dimension, Brooklyn.
So explain.
They are the same place.
Explain to our audience why Double Dragon is better than Mario Brothers, the movie.
One, I watched it much earlier in the Summers Off saga, so I could be just getting, harder in my old age about films that are garbage.
Yeah, it has been 6 years.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah, I think I was maybe more giving of a partner then.
Interesting. Gotcha.
No, I don't know. I think that's a hard piece to put a pin on as to what it is that makes it better, but it is better.
It's definitely better.
It's more fun, and I don't think it takes itself too seriously.
I think it's cohesive too.
Yeah.
They have an idea and they stick to it. They're like central concept.
Yeah, and as a video game movie, I think it does better by the video game than this does by its original content.
Yeah.
I think Super Mario Bros. does the video game dirty.
Does it very dirty.
I think it does it very dirty.
Yep.
Whereas Double Dragon, I think it hits a lot of the factors.
Yeah.
I think it's got something for people who love the game.
Mm-hmm.
I as not being a person who has seen the game or used the game, I think that my perception was that you enjoyed that as a gamer of
Double Dragon?
Yeah.
I thought the Double Dragon movie was awesome.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch the movie again than play the game. But I also love the Mortal Kombat movie. I think there's something with the stunts and the fights too that are more fun than watching this. Like, what can John Leguizamo and what's his name do? Like, they're not going to be able to do a bunch of crazy stunts and stuff. So it's just kind of lame.
Yeah,
it's all tricks.
I'll be honest. I don't know that Mortal Kombat should be in the middle, and I know I have it in the middle, but maybe it should be first. Now that I'm thinking about Mortal Kombat.
Yeah?
Just like the fights in it are so good.
Oh, it's so funny how your tune has changed on MK.
The fights were always good.
The fights are so
but
good.
But the story is just like, I can't even begin to describe it.
Okay, how many times do I have to explain this? NetherRealm and Earth have been battling for 10 consecutive tournaments. NetherRealm's won 9 in a row. They're going to win 10. If they win 10, they take over Earth. How much more do you need? Earth has to battle NetherRealm. That's it.
That's it.
The plot in a nut.
It's so clean, honestly.
It is very clean.
Versus,
Explain
like,
this movie in a nut. Explain it in the 3 sentences like I just did.
You know I can't. But I also have a tough time with Double Dragon doing that. And I have been gone for a while now,
Double
too.
Dragon, 2 medallions, 2 brothers. They need to get those medallions back. Boom, done.
So
What is
simple.
it? I guess Mario, you'd
It's
say
so simple.
Daisy gets captured. Plumbers must go rescue Daisy from King Koopa. But there's still so much you're leaving out. It's not even close.
Yeah.
And there's meteor stuff. Like,
Yeah.
there's just, it's too much. It's too much. Okay.
How would you rank those? Would you do
I
similarly?
think Mortal Kombat's better than Double Dragon
Yeah.
from production value
Well,
and the
especially if we're
fights.
talking about like the new one. I had a great time at the new one.
Oh my gosh,
thought
the
it
new
was so
one's
fun.
incredible.
Mhm.
The new one's definitely the best out of all these. And then old Mortal Kombat, and then Double Dragon, and then here's where it gets tricky. Now, if you wanted to play Mario Brothers versus you've never seen Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the second Mortal Kombat movie, it's one of the worst movies of all time. That is a competition.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation versus this movie, that's a conversation we can have.
I'd rather not.
I know. We won't. We won't waste any of our listeners' times or our own
Thank you.
on that one. Rach, can we talk about Dennis Hopper's tongue in that one scene where he gets a little rapey
Oh.
with Daisy?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell our listeners about it.
I mean, you set it up beautifully. Like that's.
But what happens with the tongue?
It comes out of his mouth, but it turns into a snake tongue.
Yeah, like a
Which
lizard
is
tongue.
weird because he's a T-Rex, so he shouldn't have a snake tongue.
Uh-huh.
But I guess we don't really know what T-Rex's tongues look like now that I say that. So
Yeah.
maybe that's just ours interpretation.
Sure.
Yeah, that was cringy.
Mm-hmm.
That was a bit cringy.
That whole scene was super cringy.
Mm-hmm.
I hated it.
Yeah, I didn't know what he really wanted with Daisy.
I think he wants to be with her.
Bring me the prince. You blew it. And never cleaned up. Do you know what I love about mud? It's clean and it's dirty at the same time. The princess.
He's in the mud,
Mm-hmm.
and he looks like he's like getting a boner in the mud while he talks about Daisy. So I think he definitely wants to be with her.
Oh, okay.
He's like, oh, Daisy. And she's like, and Petunia's like, what am I, chop lizard? And
Brilliant.
he's just in there just mud bathing it up. And he just keeps going, oh, Daisy. And you can't see his hands. You're like, hand check. Koopa, hand check now.
Oh, man.
Can we talk about Toad?
Do we have to talk about Toad?
I think it's important to address
What?
Toad.
Okay, I would say out of all the characters, Toad was done the dirtiest.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'd be right
Hey.
because here was the original conception. Toad was going to be 3 feet tall, like he is in the game. He's just a little. Who is Toad for those people who don't play Mario Brothers?
He's a cute little mushroom.
He's a cute little mushroom
He's just a
man.
little
He's like a
mushroom.
little kid.
It's my favorite, actually.
He's a little kid. He wears like these silly little vests. He's got these little goofy pants on, and he's got a mushroom head. And he just goes, "Hey Mario, hi!" He just like jumps around. He's like, "Hey, I got news for you." And so he's just this cute little kid.
A little cutie.
That was the initial concept they were gonna do, and then they kept simplifying the design. And they're like, "Okay, now you're gonna be because I don't know how we're gonna do this 3 foot tall puppet thing." Or like a kid that just didn't know what to do. So they kept making it simpler and simpler until it just became like a dude.
Yeah, since when did they go from like 3 foot adorable Toad to like a middle aged man with a belly? Like,
Yeah,
what? He wasn't even.
with a guitar and like a weird haircut. And they're like, that's good enough for Toad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at least stick with the kid angle on that.
Yeah.
You can make a
Just
kid,
make him a
would
kid.
work.
It could have been a kid with like, I think he needs to have that mushroom top though.
I mean, you can figure it out. You give him a silly hat.
Yeah.
Give him a beanie. A kid in a beanie is done.
Ooh, a beanie that has the same colors as that mushroom cap usually?
Yes,
That would have been brilliant,
Rach.
Rach.
This was not that hard.
No, it
they
wasn't.
They made this so hard.
It wasn't. It wasn't
Why?
that hard.
They overthought everything.
Yep.
And they just confused themselves and their viewers.
Yep.
Like, this did not need to be complicated.
Yep. This reminds me of, I won't say the name of the musical I did, but there was a musical that was a kid's musical, and it was a Christmas time musical. And they decided the colors that they were going to do, like, instead of, like, big bright colors, it was, like, dull oranges and yellows and stuff. And, like, everybody looked horrible costuming. And you're like, this is a kid's play, and everybody looks so dull on stage. We all look terrible. And that's kind of what this reminded me of. It's like, if you just did bright colors and made it somewhat like the video game in, like, color saturation, it would have been Zune's better. Zune's better.
I agree. Don't overthink it.
Yep. All right. There's a lot of things that we could get into, and I'm sure you have a lot of things as well. Rach, is this a mob movie?
A mob movie?
Yeah. When they're in New York, there's a mob.
Oh, yeah, there's
a mob stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
When you get to the Koopa land, he's kind of like a mob boss.
He's a dictator.
Yeah, you're right. He's a dictator.
It's
He's
governmental.
fascist.
It's different than a mob. A mob is like anti-government.
Yep.
It's its own entity.
That's true.
So
they're like almost socialist
it
as you
depends
get.
on which world we're talking about. Are we talking about Brooklyn or are we talking about New Brooklyn?
Oh, so are you saying, hear me out, this movie's about politics.
What?
Yeah, because when you're in New York, when you're on our side, it's extra like democratic socialist with the mob running things and like no organization and stuff like that, no centralized power. And then when you go over to Dinotopia or whatever, you're in a fascist right-leaning government. This is a movie about politics. Might be too heady for you because you're not getting your PhD.
Well, what I will say is I don't know that socialists appreciate you saying that they're the same as the mob.
Well, I think the mob liked communism, though.
You think so?
I think so.
You think they didn't like
They like
capitalism?
unions, which is left.
Well, yeah,
They're
that's
a
a part
union.
of it.
Yep,
Yeah.
mobsters are
That's
union
still,
teamsters.
I think it's still different, though. I think a union is still different than communism.
But we're getting there.
But you know what? I don't have a PhD, so what do I know?
Oh, you have so much to learn, my sweet.
So much.
Oh, hey, did you have a problem with Leguizamo is Colombian, not Italian?
Oh, he was Colombian?
I mean, he is Colombian.
I know, but you mean like, but he was cast as an Italian in this?
And
Did
these
I have a
guys are
problem
supposed to
with
be
that?
Italian.
I mean,
I didn't look up. Hoskins might not be Italian either. It might be like Polish or something.
very possible. No, that did not bother me. It did not take me out of this film. The film took me out of this film.
Oh, okay.
Not that.
Well, I'll be honest.
Did it make you mad?
That is the thing that really took me out.
As an Italian, you have a right to be mad about that.
Well, I do think this is a movie. I mean, that's important to their characteristics. This is an Italian movie. It's like My Big Fat Greek Wedding, and if you didn't cast Greek people in it, I think the Mario Brothers have to be Italian. I think it's important. Not for voiceovers. Like, you can have Chris Pratt do it. I don't care. But I think if you're doing a live action, these guys need to be Italian. It's part of their ethnicity. It's really important.
Maybe.
And I'll stick by that. Rach, how did you feel about the fact that Daisy just gets into a van with strangers and we teach that lesson to young, unassuming women? Like, hey, you need a ride? Just get into a van with strangers. No big deal.
Well,
these plumbers are nice guys. You're gonna fall in love with one of them. This is a good thing to do.
What my brother is trying to say is he doesn't know what to say. Doesn't even know how to begin. But he has offered you a ride. And if it would help you out, please step into the van.
That might not be a bad idea.
It's true. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But to her character's credit, she was getting tailed by some mobsters at the time.
Some democratic socialists. Yep.
And she had death threats made to her, or kidnap threats were made to her just earlier. So my hunch is that it was a bit of a ploy to be like, okay, well, I'm going to go with you guys because then I'm with somebody and I'll be safe. Versus if I'm on my own, I'm going to get snatched. So I think there was a little bit more thinking into that. But you're right. It doesn't bode well for their future.
Yeah, for sure. What'd you think of the casting choice for Mario's girlfriend?
Oh, yeah. She wasn't Peach at all.
No, her name was Daniela.
She was Italian.
Which
makes sense.
Yep.
Yes, he's Italian.
Yep.
And he could never be with a blonde chick. That would be crazy.
That would be nuts. You'd be getting out of the culture. It wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, do you think they were like setting themselves up for a sequel?
Well,
or...
if they were, then how is him and Daniela was her name? They better break up then because he needs to be with Peach.
Yeah, and they would. But he didn't even like give her a nickname. He didn't even call her Peach.
I know, that would have been cute.
Yeah.
I think that's the way you should have done it.
Yeah.
You should to allude to it and just be like, Or he'd be like, all right, I'll see you later, princess. And then later on he'd be like, I got to you, Peachy, or something like that. Like, you could just do allusions to it.
Ty. It's so simple. It's so simple.
You could just have the very beginning when they're wearing their plumber outfits, you could have Mario in red instead of green, and you could put Luigi in green instead of red. I think like that would have helped too. When they go into the club to go dance, I think that Mario could have been wearing red instead of yellow, and Luigi could have been wearing green instead of orangish red. Just there's a lot of little things.
Just little things.
I think would have worked.
Little tweaks.
Little tweaks. What do you have on your list?
The dinos at the beginning, I knew right away.
Oh, yeah.
That was concerning to me.
Yeah, tell everybody about that. What do they see? What's the opening thing that they see in this movie?
The opening scene to this, and I'm so glad that you said, yes, we're watching the right movie, because I was like, what?
Thought we were watching Tree of Life for a second, or?
A little bit. Yeah, it was a black and white, early, like stop motion of dinosaurs.
Uh-huh.
And I just thought, what in the world did I sign up for? So that was the beginning. So off to a great start with that. The land, the other dimension land, and it's kind of like it was infested with mushrooms. But the mushrooms, it was almost like cobweb everywhere, which is probably some sort of, it was fungus, right? They kept talking about it. And the fungus was actually Princess Peach's dad.
Daisy's.
Sorry.
Oh
Daisy's
my gosh,
dad.
Rach,
Whoa.
big
Sorry.
flub.
We
You need to apologize to the listeners
Sorry,
right
everyone.
now.
Sorry. Princess Peach had a dad, and he got de-evolutionized, and so he got turned back into like a fungus.
Which, that's where they come from. They come from mushrooms.
Also interesting, like back into fungus. Like, what do we mean back into fungus?
You know, one thing I would say, you were talking about anthropomorphization earlier. Daisy should have had more fungusisms. That would be a critique I would give her.
She didn't seem mushroomy.
I didn't see any mushroomness with her. Same with Toad.
Yeah, actually, he's one for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't see any cuteness there either.
It's some mushrooms.
So I was kind of like grossed out by that.
Yeah, it's gross. It's totally gross.
Yeah. Also,
it reminds you of those Australian towns that get taken over by spiders. There's cobwebs everywhere. That's what it reminds me of. It's like this weird mushroom fungus web everywhere.
Hey, horrendous. Ugh.
What would you do if a bunch of spiders took over Mankato right now? Would you move early?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
What are we even talking about?
Yeah, you'd be
a bunch of spiders took over like they do those towns.
Yeah,
we'd be gone.
Well, because you don't always see like a crazy amount of infestation, like spiders in your house necessarily. You just get cobwebs everywhere. Like there's just huge spider webs that take over houses. It's insane.
Yeah, I'm not sticking around to find out how that ends.
You seen arachnophobia?
Yes.
What'd you think?
It was horrendous.
Horrifying.
So scary. The shower scene when you're most vulnerable.
Oh,
it's gonna jump on you. No,
that's the worst.
Forget it.
Have you ever had a bug attack you in the shower?
Yes.
I have too.
I don't know if it attacked me necessarily. Like I can't say that definitively, but it was in the shower, and I had a tough time.
Yep.
Being in the shower with it.
Do you want to tell the listeners when I scared you when you were in the shower? When you're the most vulnerable?
You know, that doesn't have anything to do with spiders. That's just being vulnerable in the shower.
And being scared.
Yeah, so I'm showering. Ty's not home that I know of.
But I'm singing. When I come in the door.
I did not hear him. I did not hear him.
Like I always am.
In the house, and I didn't hear him open the door to the bathroom. And it wasn't until he whipped the shower curtain open and said, "Hey, hi."
I go, "Hey,
Yeah, so it's like you were like trying to like shock me, actually.
But I was singing songs the whole time I was going up the steps.
Yeah, and I was
You-
startled and screamed, and then I began crying.
A winner moment for me, for sure.
Why would you do that?
That's exactly what you said. Why would you do that?
I was so scared. Oh, funny. Can you imagine if the theme park for Mario Bros was actually took a letter from this.
The Universal
and
Park that just opened?
Yeah, and they decided, let's go with the gritty version of it, and let's like really lean into the movie
Oh my gosh,
version.
what would the ride even be? It'd be like, you're escaping Koopa's castle on those like carpets and those weird little, look like a water slide tunnel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would
That'd
that be something fun?
awful.
No.
Just.
So you're not into it?
Oh, I'm really into it.
I think
I
it'd
would
be
do
pretty
it,
crazy.
but I wouldn't be happy about it.
That's all I got.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe we got all the. You didn't have anything else. You didn't have the jump shoes on there. You didn't have the dance with the red gal who represents the big fish in the video game.
All needless, or could have been explained other ways,
Yep.
or just too little too late.
Wow.
Too little too late.
Yeah. That was my favorite part of the whole experience was when the Mario theme came on and you're like, no, it's too late. It's too late. You blew it.
You blow it.
Oh my gosh. And folks, so just to give you a heads up, there's 20 minutes of extended footage and we watched it. So we got to see all the cutaways, and we got to see the director's original intention too. And it was, I mean, it's awful all the ways you could spin it.
I can't imagine with those out of it that it makes it much better.
No.
So,
No, it doesn't.
Add
It doesn't
'em,
make it any
take
better.
them or leave them. It won't matter.
It won't matter.
It won't matter.
If you want to watch the same extended cut footage that we saw as a rough cut of an earlier version of it, you can watch this on the Internet Archive. That's where you need to go. And you need to do some big soul searching and some big internet searching. So it's gonna take a lot of work on both accounts for you, but you can see this movie if you're not from the UK. Rach, I want to go through some top terrible movies from the 90s.
Let's get into it.
Okay. You have seen a few of these movies.
Have I?
Yep. The first
Did
movie.
you make me watch them?
Maybe a little bit. So the first movie on our list is They're Eating Her, and then they're gonna eat me. Oh my God! What movie am I referring to, Rach?
Critters?
No, this is Trolls 2.
Oh yeah.
The second movie on our
I was
list
like, I know that I'm supposed to know this quote.
is the sequel to a movie that's on our Summer's Off list, Highlander 2, the second Highlander movie.
Oh,
I've
okay.
only watched it in a quick summation of it. I've never seen the whole movie from start to finish, but it did look terrible. This movie. And then there is, I'm going to skip some that we don't know, Showgirls, which I know you've seen.
Yep.
And then Biodome, which we talked about this morning, where we were like, I don't remember Biodome being that bad. I'm like, I'm going to put it on my list of movies to revisit because I remember loving it as a kid. We're going to test that. We're going to see.
Well, Showgirls is so fun because it's so bad, too. Like,
You like
there's a
Showgirls.
No, I don't like Showgirls.
It's been on VH1 and you've been like, Showgirls is fun.
Don't blaspheme me with that. Like, Rach likes Showgirls, everybody. That's not true. It's so bad, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's not good.
Nobody said it's good.
It's not so bad, it's good. It's so bad, it's fun.
Yes,
It's
yes.
different.
Another fun movie that you love, Striptease.
I've never seen Striptease.
Oh, you have not?
Nope.
So I watched Striptease. Should I tell my Striptease story?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's silly.
So my parents, I gotta go on blast for this. People who listen to this are gonna be like, I can't believe this. My parents rented the movie because they love Demi Moore. And they were like, Demi Moore did this new movie. I think it's going to be mature, but I think we should be able to watch it. Like, I think it's kind of about strippers, but I don't think it's going to be that graphic. So we start watching the movie, and
How old are you?
it came out in 96, so I am in 3rd grade, I think.
Just wanted to paint the picture.
Yeah. 3rd, maybe even 4th grade by the time we got it, because it was out on VHS by that time. So 3rd or 4th grade. And they're like, Ty, you can watch this movie with us. Because I was to the point where they let me watch rated R movies. I just had to close my eyes if there was anything naughty. Naughty just meant nudity. I could watch pretty much.
Watch all the blood.
I
And
think
guts
so.
and
Like,
cussing.
unless it was really graphic. My parents didn't watch any scary movies. They watched some action movies, but that would be like the only thing that would be bloody and gory. And so the first scene is like a huge stripper scene.
Yeah.
Like literally just 8 women getting naked in the moment. And so they made me put a blanket over my head because the scene was so long. It was like I had closed my eyes. They were like, Ty, close your eyes. So I closed my eyes, which you can kind of peek, You're like, and then they made me put a blanket over my head. But the blanket that they had holes in it. It was one of those like holy blankets. And so I took my 2 fingers, my thumb and my pointer, and I opened up one of the holes and I just watched the whole scene. And so I saw all these girls get naked in the first scene. And I was like, oh, wow. And this trick I had perfected from back in the day when I was a first grader, I think. And I had done that same trick with Thelma and Louise. And saw Gina Davis naked, one of the first people I've ever seen naked. So there's a little striptease story for you.
Oh my gosh.
And then there's Batman and Robin.
Okay.
Would you like to make your favorite quote from that?
What's my favorite quote from that?
Ice to see you.
Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, who's my villain?
And then I don't think you're going to know any of these other movies from the 90s. So
Chill out.
Chill out.
Chill out.
Rach, are there any other really terrible movies that you think compare to this movie?
Yeah.
like, okay, let's take this versus The Room.
Oh, The Room's so fun.
The Room is way better, right?
No, it's okay to be bad if you're bad and fun. It's not okay to be bad if you're bad and just bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, Big Trouble in Little China is just bad and just bad.
Oh, is that worse than this?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
You have to stay and find out. A couple more minutes.
Oh,
Don't
wow,
go anywhere.
I'm so excited.
But yeah, terrible.
So I was just reading in the Mario Brothers listing of this Wikipedia article that had compiled all these like things, and it said that the directors got blacklisted after this. They were not allowed to work in the States. They had to go back to Britain and work. Which is great. Just great.
They are a threat to our democracy. Get out of here.
Rach,
oh my gosh.
Are there any other moments you'd like to pinpoint? Any other acting things you'd like to talk about? Any set pieces? I thought the little bob-ombs and the little bullet bills, the bob-ombs are these little bombs that walk and then they explode. And then the bullet bills are these things that look like little missiles, little bullets pretty much, and then you shoot them out. I thought those both looked really cute.
Again,
they're just props they painted.
You don't have to overthink it.
Yeah.
Don't make it so hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were cute.
Those
were
cute.
probably the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I can't believe we just got through that.
I know. I feel like I'm worried it was a mess just like the movie was. It was like your podcast was a mess too.
Oh, well, maybe. No, I mean, like, I think I have closure now.
Oh, yeah.
From like the film, and then now I can just be like, okay.
And you know,
it's over.
You know what's interesting? This movie came out in '93. I bet there's people who have been hanging on to some stuff for about 30 years.
Yeah.
And by listening to this podcast, maybe they'll be able to find closure themselves.
I hope so.
Be able to be like, yeah, I can finally rest. It's time. It's time to put that in the ground.
Yeah.
All right. What would you like to?
Okay. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. Here it goes. It's a little bit different this time. I'm just going to give you a play-by-play of my thoughts.
Okay.
It's not like a fully cohesive critics' consensus as much as it is just like
that
my
makes
thoughts.
sense. So this movie was a collection of some people's thoughts and not also cohesive. So.
Very good. Minute 12. This is unwatchable. Minute 27. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Minute 29. Never mind. Just so you know, minute 27 is when we're going into the other dimension and it's very like bright and colorful. And I'm thinking, oh, here we go.
Uh-huh.
Now we're going to be in the land.
Yep.
It's going to be great. They're going to be red and green and bright. And it's going to be like Who Framed Roger Rabbit or something like that. Like maybe it's a little cartoony. Maybe it's not, but maybe really mix of like real life and cartoons. I don't know. I'm so excited. Here we go. No, never mind. It's literally just a dirtier version of where we were.
Yep.
With people in weird costumes and acting very strange.
Uh-huh.
When we get into that world, like I don't even know what people were trying to be, what characters they were.
There's just like weird lizard things, like carrying babies and carrying eggs in baby carriages and stuff.
Yeah, get away from my egg. It's like, what character are you? You're not in the game.
Yeah.
It was otherworldly. 1%.
1%.
1%.
Worse than Friday the 13th remake.
Worse than everything I've ever seen. This is the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire existence.
Oh my gosh.
This is number one
This
worst.
is worse than Big Trouble in Little China?
Yes.
This is worse than Total Recall.
Yes.
Good, because both those movies are pretty good.
Those were bad, but bad and fun. This is just bad and bad and bad and bad.
Okay. So here's what I have.
Okay.
8%. It's above Spice World. Yeah, it's still above Spice World.
Oh, God.
Because Spice World is nonsensical. At least this has like a through line plot. It's like, hey, here's what we're doing. Spice World is like, there is no through line plot.
There is true.
Okay, what is it, Rach?
Give me a second. I gotta remember. There definitely is a plot. It's,
I mean, I could kind of try to sum it up for
they're
you.
going around on tour and doing
Yep.
shows, and then somebody is trying to make them less popular because that will generate them more money. It's like their producer or something is trying to tank them
Uh-huh.
and like trying to like cut. Yeah. Because that will be fun and that'll be good publicity.
See, it doesn't even make sense. Your plot doesn't even make sense.
It does. It makes more sense than
No,
this.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Yes, it
I won't
does.
argue that. This movie makes more sense.
But the Spice Girls were in it. It's so fun.
So what? Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo and
No.
Daisy was great. Dennis
No.
Hopper. This movie is better than Spice World. There's no doubt in my mind this
No.
is better than Spice World.
Wrong. You are wrong, and you are wrong.
8%. But it's below Ladybugs. Because I would rather watch Ladybugs than this movie again. Because Ladybugs, although very problematic, has Rodney Dangerfield making a couple funny jokes.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while, you'll kind of laugh at his jokes.
Yeah.
I didn't really laugh at much in this movie at all. And then, like, the whole story is kind of 12th Night reversed. And it's like, okay.
It's generous.
Yeah. Reverse 12th Night? That's kind of fun. So that movie gets a higher grade than this one. 8%.
Okay. 8%.
Wow, this
Which
is
I think is also pretty generous.
this is the worst movie of all time.
This is the worst movie of all time. This one right here.
Yeah.
Right here, right now.
Well, I mean, I just looked at the 10 worst movies in the 90s. It was on the list.
Guess
and
what
so,
was not on there? Spice World.
Well, but when did Spice World come out? Was it 2000s?
Ooh, don't Google it.
No,
Don't
hold
look.
on. This is worth it. You vamp.
Well, while you're looking that up, I will treat listeners to what we are watching next week.
Oh, Battlefield Earth is one of the worst, and that is a fun movie. All right, what's next, Rach?
Next week, I am actually gonna treat you to something. I know maybe we haven't done that for each other as of late. This is not one of my favorite movies, but we're gonna go more middle of the road. So like we were a
Okay.
good cop, then we were a bad cop, and now we're just a
We're
cop.
middle cop.
We're just a plain average Joe cop.
Oh, okay.
All right. I'm gonna treat you to the lesser known film.
Okay.
But is dear to me.
Uh-huh.
I hope you enjoy it. If you don't tell me.
I think I know what it is, and I think it's dear to a lot of people.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
cool.
it is.
Maybe. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I think it's worth it. We're gonna watch the movie called this title, it's so long. Okay. The Divine Secrets of the Ya Sisterhood.
I'll be honest, I've been looking forward to this.
Have you?
Yeah, this one I have expectations for, which makes me nervous.
Oh no, don't drop your expectations.
Oh.
But
I've heard too many people tell me that they love this movie.
okay, I do like it, and I think it's been a long time since I've seen it, but it'll be good.
We'll
I
see.
think it's a sleeper.
1%. I'm already going to tell you right now. My score for it, 1%.
No.
Tied with Mario Brothers.
I won't have it. Did you you didn't see Spice World wasn't on your list, was it?
No,
You
it
couldn't find
wasn't.
Ah.
I'll do more research. Report back next week. Even though you'd be really good at just the roll in the hay.
I don't know.
Would you
if
like to
that's
go
a
on
compliment
with
or
a
not.
roll in the hay?
Is that
she's
just because German is
She's
fun?
the cute German girl. Ooh, yeah. You just be really good at that role.
Ooh,
She's
yeah.
goofy.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah. You know. I think that'd be a role that I'd have fun doing. Not the roll in the hay. Girl. Let me clarify.